Hello, I'm David Jones, and I thought I'd do a quick update on natural gas, given some of the recent news and also what's going on with the price action. I think is interesting over the last few weeks or so. So just as a quick recap, if we have a look at the charts, we saw the price peak last summer after a great run up, peaked up around $10. Then we saw the sell-off to a multi-year low this year, trading back to its worst levels for more than, I think, 2.5 years or so. But what's interesting from a short-term point of view at least is the fact that the lows that were set in April have held. We've seen the market retest these lows, and so far at least those 189 lows in natural gas have held. So I thought, let's do a video. Let's take a quick look at natural gas, see what the trading idea might be. So I'll set up a trade in this video and have a look at some possible targets on the upside if we are going to see the price of natural gas move higher. So as usual, I'll talk about some of the recent news, then we'll jump onto the charts and get this trade set up. Just before we get into that, a usual reminder, I write a newsletter that comes out over the weekend, free of charge. If you go to the website, davidjonestrading.co.uk, I'll put the link in the description down there. You can sign up for the newsletter. It'll come up on the homepage, a box about halfway down to put your email address in. There's also details of the trading course that I run on there and other stuff like what broker I use. So have a look at the website and you can find out more. Right, let's get into it and take a look at natural gas in a bit more detail. So to the lows in April, we saw an 80% fall from those highs last summer. Massive fall in the price of gas from $10 to below $2, the lowest since August 2020. So we hit more than 2.5 year lows in natural gas. And I think there have been lots of people all the way down trying to call the bottom in gas and getting their fingers burnt. A reminder about the importance of managing risk when it comes to trading. But what's interesting for me over the last few weeks or so is what the price has been doing. And just to talk about some of the recent news, we've had a report from Baker Hughes that basically exploration activity is getting pulled from some of the natural gas fields. We're seeing drilling rigs being pulled because of the fall in the price of gas and also I think the economic situation perhaps making it difficult for some of the exploration companies at least to continue to raise finance to explore for natural gas and get the stuff out of the ground. So there has been perhaps a fundamental shift in reaction to the falling price in natural gas. We've seen the number of rigs reduced by 16 to 141 this week. That's the largest decline since February 2016. So a real change in exploration activity for natural gas. So could this be the signal that the price of natural gas is on the turn? Big companies can often, because of the procedures they have in place, be slow to shift to what's going on in their market. With the price down 80%, with some not quite throwing in the towel down here, but is it perhaps a sign of capitulation? And of course, further down the line, if there's less exploration and drilling today, you'd think that would have an impact on supply a bit further down the line. So perhaps we're going to see gradually sentiment for natural gas shift as people start anticipating this cut in output further down the line. So let's not forget, markets are always forward-looking. That doesn't necessarily mean that we've seen the absolute low for natural gas, but that news coupled with what we've seen the price doing, the fact that we have seen the price of natural gas hold above a major low for the first time this year. For a lot of what we've seen this year, hits a low, rallies, and takes that low out. The last few weeks have been a bit different. Anyway, the best way to see this is take a look on the chart. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at some levels to watch and set up a potential trade in natural gas. Right, let's take a look at natural gas in a bit more detail. As usual, let's start with a bigger picture. So going back to August of 2022, last summer, that price up at $10. That trend is still down. So if we're looking to call a bottom, we are a bit premature, or I'm a bit premature, based on what's going on with the trend. So from a bigger picture point of view, I think the risk still is that even if we saw a rally, a further rally from here, the risk is it could run out of steam. For me, the level I'm watching, probably around $3. If we can get through $3 on natural gas, it does start to look as if perhaps that that downtrend is finally over. So big picture, trend still down. But what is interesting, let's zoom in. We'll stick on the daily chart for now. It's these moves that we've seen since April. So we saw the price in April took out the February low. The February low just ahead of $2, around $2.06. Then in April, the price trades down to $1.89. And we've seen, of course, we've seen rallies along the way from natural gas. We had another rally off that level, came back to it in May, but we have seen that level hold. So I think it's the first time for a while, we'd have to go back to December last year, where the price of natural gas has managed to hold over a major low. Okay, we had it here where it holds above the October lows, rallies. Ultimately, those levels got taken out. So that's absolutely still a risk at the moment. But it is encouraging in the short term that we are seeing the price action do this. So what's the trading idea here? Well, for me, let's perhaps flip this over to a shorter term chart. I think it's an interesting one to watch over the next couple of days. When we saw the market bounce off those lows, $1.89 lows in April, the market rallied up to around 240, 235, 240, and ran out of steam. And it's interesting that that's what we saw yesterday at the time of recording. So earlier this week, we did see the market run up to about 239 and sell off. Can it break 240? I think that will be an interesting breakout if we get that. It does confirm the strength. So I think there's probably a couple of ways of trading this if we thought there was a base. The first idea for me would be to buy a breakout. If it trades through 240, it looks like we've got a breakout. For fans of patterns, perhaps potentially we've got a double bottom. So there's a couple of things stacking up there. Look to buy into that strength. The other thing to think about, given the volatility in natural gas, is if the market starts to sell off. If it starts to sell off, where would I be looking for the strength to come in? I think we've got old support left from the middle of May ahead of $2. So another trading idea is perhaps to be a buyer of a dip from here back down to the low 200s with a stop the other side of $1.89, a stop the other side of the old lows. Let's set that up as a trading idea. So this is the account I use on the live streams that we do, the various trades that we do in live streams and some of the other videos. You can see we've got a mix of trades in there at the moment. They're all making money apart from this Pioneer natural resources trade. It's got a couple of stock trades in there, dollar index trade and a NASDAQ trade. But let's set up a trade in natural gas. So I'm going to trade the June contract for natural gas so that the financing fees are baked into the price so I don't pay any financing fees. I'm going to put a stop loss. I'm going to set this up as an order. So I'm going to buy a dip. If the market drifts back to about $2.15, I want to be a buyer. Let's put that in. And then my stop loss, I know 189 was the recent low. Let's give it a bit of wiggle room. I'm going to go 160 for a stop. And if I trade one contract here, buying at 215, so about 25 cents lower than where we're trading now, with a stop at 160, trading one contract, my risk is going to be $550. I'm happy with that level of risk. Let's send that order through. Okay, so the order's placed. It will just sit there now. To find out who I trade with, I did a short video on my website. If you go to my website, davidjonestrading.co.uk, and go to the broker page, you can watch the short video that explains why I trade with this broker, and there's a link in there for you to try the broker out. So I'll put all of this stuff in the description to the video so you can click through and watch it. Right, let's go back onto the natural gas chart. So for now, I want to be patient and buy a dip, perhaps back to 215. It was only where it was less than a week ago, at the end of last week. Let's see what happens. We know it can be a volatile market. When it comes to targets, for me, we have these old highs left from the beginning of March, around about 265. Perhaps that's the first interim target. After that, we do have that elusive $3 level. Let's see how it works out. But if we are going to see this strength, we do need to see these old highs around 235, 240 broken properly. I think it's an interesting market, given what the price action has done. Given that news about the rigs, perhaps that will make people feel a bit more positive about natural gas in the medium term. But the fact that 189 has held over the last the last month or so makes it an interesting market as ever to keep an eye on. So I think it's an interesting one to watch down here. Considering what the price action has done, I've set that trade up. I'm quite willing to be patient. We know that natural gas can be a volatile market, so I'm happy to wait and see if we get a pullback. If the price breaks out through 240, then I have to really think about it again. But let's see what happens. I'll do an update in a couple of weeks. We'll take a look as usual on the live stream on Friday. Don't forget, go to the website, davidjonestrading.co.uk, to find out more about the newsletter, the broker I use. There's that short video up there, and also the trading courses I run. I'll put the details in the description down below. But for our natural gas, we'll leave it there for now. Let's see what happens. We'll come back and have a look in the future. But until then, good luck with your trading.